Heritage is doing this because, and you can see our Jackson logo, we're here, it's fitting. There's an effort right now to take down the statue of Andrew Jackson in New Orleans, along with the other statues that we saw taken down, because the mayor said these were put up by the Daughters of the Confederacy as a false narrative, as part of some cult of the lost cause. Baloney. They were put up the same way that people honor fallen soldiers, you know, and that is the point that needs to be made. So let's see what that looks like today. You know, and here you can see most of the graves are nondescript. Every third marker in the front row gets a wreath, and a few perhaps had family members that brought wreaths for other ones. And on the other side, which is leading towards the battlefield, this is what it looks like. It's hard to imagine, and what's good to see is that that is what it must have looked like to the British on the day of the battle. Here, taking a break again to look. This is what the Chalmette Battlefield looks like in New Orleans, and you can see it goes down to the river. Roughly on each side, it's about 10 deep of the graves. This guy was 1865, so he was right after the war, actually, Lee had surrendered. Some of the markers are larger. And on the other side, here you can see some people, unknown soldiers, just got a brick. A simple brick. But many have regular markers, if they know the name to put up there. And then this is the battlefield as put back in place. And I wanted you to see this. Chalmette National Cemetery. We honor veterans who served the country. 15,000 veterans. It's now over 16,000. 6,700 unknown. 4 veterans of the War of 1812 are here. And there's a few from the Spanish-American War and a few from World War I and World War II. Chalmette National Cemetery, 1864, set up to intern Union soldiers who died in the Civil War. So now you're getting a look at what it looked like if you were a British soldier. And I'll actually say the fog's gotten thicker in about the last 20 minutes. You know, it wasn't always a field. There's a lot of water here from the rain of yesterday. And this is probably what it looked like that morning. I can barely see it. All right, I could barely see it. I'll let you know that straight out about 500 feet through the fog is the obelisks, which looks like Washington Monument. It's actually called Jackson Monument here. And as I said earlier, you know, our little group is Save Nola Heritage, because there's an effort right now to take down the Andrew Jackson Monument in New Orleans. That's not a monument to a certain man or president, although he deserves one, clearly, because he organized and had the strategy to stop the British from taking over New Orleans, which meant control of the Mississippi River, which meant control over commerce for about 30 states that drained into the river. But that monument was built in 1908 during the height of Jim Crow, after 68 years of fundraising to get it done. Within years, just a few years, of Beauregard's monument and the Davis monument, which were put up in 1910 and 1913. So the same people fundraising for this monument, which says we want to give credit to everybody, the Kentucky people, the Marines, the Louisianans, the Creoles, Lafitte's Pirates, and the free men of color, 450 of them. So why were these other monuments that are just up road supposedly put up to send a message? And the deal is what drives me a little bit is our mayor was on CBS Good Morning saying those monuments were put up by the Daughters of the Confederacy to send a message, to be part of a false narrative, to be part of the cult of the lost cause. Again, baloney. They were put up because we were in a spirit of New Orleans of saying, you know what? Back in 1815, we stood up and we became part of the United States. I wasn't here, obviously. Neither were my family, really. But at the time, those people said we're doing it to show that we are part of the country. And we honor those that died, just as we honor those in the American Revolution that set up our country. And that's what those other monuments were for, to say, 11,000 men from Louisiana died in a battle for Southern independence. Wherever you feel whether that war was just or unjust, they still deserve their credit, because a lot of them actually had ancestors who fought either in the War of 1812 or the American Revolution, or who had kids who later went to fight in other wars. And still today, some of their kids and descendants are fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq. We want to give tribute to all that people, and I'm sorry if it went long here, but again, there's a lot of great things going on right now with the battle coming up, Wreaths across America, giving credit to the daughters as we still continue the fight to keep up our existing monuments. Have a great Christmas.